All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November meeting of the Parks, Recreation, Waterfront, and Resiliency Committee. I am Michael Marino. I am the Zoom facilitator for the evening. So if you're having any technical issues, just send a chat to the chat box, and I will try to help you as best I can. As a reminder, the chat box only comes to the host and the co-host. It's not used for conversation during the meeting. We try to keep the conversation live and in person rather than to the side in the chat box. So just keep that in mind. Any personal comments won't be seen by anybody but the host. We also use the chat feature for attendance. So if you are not a community board member, if you can just sign into the chat with your name, and if you are affiliated with an organization, you can put your affiliation in as well. We also ask all of our presenters to sign in for attendance as well. So if you can do that either now or at some point during the meeting, that would be great. Just some Zoom housekeeping things. To mute and unmute yourself, you just click the star. You just click the microphone icon in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen. Sometimes when the screen is being shared, the toolbar moves to the top of the screen. So just click the microphone to mute and unmute yourself. And or if you are on the phone, it is *6, I believe, to mute and unmute yourself. On the computer, you can also hold down the space bar to unmute yourself as well. We also, during the Q&A function, we use the raise hand feature, and to raise your hand, just open the participant screen and you'll see the raise hand feature there. And on the phone, it is *9. We ask that you wait to raise your hand until the category that you're in is called on. So for instance, the typical order that we operate in is the agenda item will be presented by the city agency that's presenting it. Then the chair will ask for questions and comments from community board members. After all the questions and comments for the community board members are done, the chair will then ask for questions and comments from the public that is in attendance. So we ask you to wait until that time to start raising your hand. It just makes it easier for us to be able to differentiate between public members and community board members. For the public, we also typically will limit questions to 2 minutes, and we do have a timer for that we use occasionally. So be prepared for that as well. The chair, of course, has the discretion to limit the time even further or to not limit the time at all. Chair for the meeting is Trevor Holland, and I will turn it over for him, and he will run the business side of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Great intro. We should record that and use it for all the meetings, because when you're not here, I don't remember all the what you just said, but thank you. A couple of housekeeping notes. The agenda is up. We are going to move things around quite a bit just because of recent developments, but I'll get into that in a second. The first thing we want to do from a committee standpoint is the minutes were sent out. Were there any objections to the minutes? Seeing hands, so the minutes are deemed approved. Also, Ryan, our secretary, is not here tonight. She has she's not feeling well. I see a hand, Michael. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's David Adams.
David.
Yeah, I had difficulty. I couldn't open the minutes up to see, so I don't know what I couldn't see them. From the day I got them, but my computer was down for a bit, so I didn't get a chance to revisit the issue.
So, okay.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
I'm going to just figure it out. So keep in mind that I will.
Maybe I can try now while the meeting's going on again. I'll see.
I'm going to try and do the best I can to not only take minutes in attendance, but run the meeting. So please be patient if it takes me a second or if you see me looking down. So the first thing we're going to do is take attendance. Kay Webster.
Yes, here.
Ryan is not here. Let's make sure. David Adams.
I'm still here.
Okay. Yaron Altman.
Yes.
Carlin Chan,
Yes.
Valentina Jones,
Yes.
Michael Marino,
Present.
Robin Chattel,
She
and
doesn't
I
see.
should know how to, I don't see it. Daniel. Daniel, I know I saw you.
Daniel, your microphone might not be working. You're unmuted, but we don't hear you.
He is in the joined, right? And I saw him earlier.
Yeah, he's
Daniel?
here. He's here.
I'll get back to Daniel. Josephine Velez,
Here. Yes.
Troy Velez,
Troy is not in the meeting.
before I go back to Daniel, David Adams, you have your hand raised.
Hi, I was able to open the minutes now. So let me just give a quick, I can't read everything, but it seems to be okay. I mean, you have me present at the beginning and the end, so I'll go with it for now.
Okay. I know Daniel is on. I'm just trying to get him for attendance. Daniel?
Present.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay. I almost marked you absent, and I know you were here because you were on it 5 minutes early. So, second up, we're going to do Parks Manager update. Michael, you see.
I don't know. Jamil, did you log in with a number I don't recognize?
Yeah, Mike, I'm on. I'm sorry. I logged in with my job phone.
All right, awesome. It's your
Good evening, everybody. I can start with the update. I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead. ahead.
We've had some good news. So recently we received, District 3 received three new supervisors for the district. So they were broken up between three different sectors. We put one at East River, one over by Seward, and one by Al Smith. We've kind of also deployed staff to assist them with some of the problematic areas we have in those sectors. Another good news is that we recently got an extension of the CCC staff and the seasonal pool staff that were assigned to the district before pool season. They're going to be ending in June rather than ending at the end of the year. So for us, that's a great help, a great, get additional staff. We've been having additional staff work later to really focus on some of the problematic areas we have in District 3. We've been really putting our concerns towards garbage, graffiti, a lot of homeless issues we still have arising again. We've been focused on the large parks and on some of the fields that we have problematic issues at. Our staff right now is really addressing leaves, debris, and garbage. Typically now we have a packet that's on to leave 7 o'clock every single night, picking up garbage late, with 2 helpers helping out the packet driver. So we're trying to get ahead of some of the issues we have in the district with some of the garbage that kind of settles in them overnight, that gets kind of overwhelming for the morning. So we're trying to stay ahead of it. One of the things we're also doing is really focusing on getting our winter equipment ready for the winter season. Also, Steve asked me to report this. We'll be having a Zoom meeting with the community to get input on the Rivington Playground upgrades that we're going to be doing soon. So I guess he's looking to do it sometime towards mid-December, end of December, but he's going to coordinate the meeting with the community board. And I will also report for District 1 and 2, the uplifting walkway pavers that at Pier 35 were repaired by our district maintenance man. And there's nothing new to report about East River Esplanade or Columbus Park.
All right, thank you, Jamil. We'll take some quick questions, but as you know, the procedure we're trying to use going forward is to limit this session and make sure that all complaints go to the community board first, so that Parks has a chance to respond. I see, Michael, is anyone else beside you? Okay, go ahead.
I think I'm the only one. So Jamil, I just wanted to ask, because I noticed I think last night or the night before, the crew doing the leaves at Henry M. Jackson. And I just wanted to ask if you are coordinating sort of any of that with any of the park groups that are in existence. And selfishly, I'm asking because we have a small army of high school kids coming to the park next week to help rake and bag leaves. And sometimes in the past, Parks has done it
I will
before.
reach out to you with that. I could use the help. I would, any help we can get, we appreciate. So I'll
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
reach out to you to coordinate something like that. The good thing now is we have 3 good gardeners in the district. They're kind of coordinating with some staff to go around and really focus on some of the areas that are being overwhelmed by leaves. I mean, Corsica is one. It's one we have to definitely hit. So we're trying to get the small parks first before we get to the larger parks. But if you have volunteers, we could coordinate. We could definitely work together to kind of address the problem.
Yeah, I'll email you offline so we don't take up the meeting. But yeah, we have a small army of high school kids coming to do their community service hours.
I appreciate it. We'll definitely appreciate that.
All right, well, thank you, Jamil, and we'll see each other before next month, but thanks again for that update.
All right, no problem.
All right, so we're gonna, Michael, if you want to put the agenda up again,
Yeah,
we're gonna change things. And if you feel the screen is too big, just be aware that you have control of your screen. You can move the bar over where you see the panel of folks and make it as large as you want or small as you want, if you find it distracting. So we're going to first move to DEC's ESCR construction update. Please keep in mind that originally we were not going to have this for some reasons they'll explain, but we want to keep the integrity of our agenda. So they're going to give a brief verbal update as to what's going on, maybe take some general questions, and we're going to move to the rest of the agenda. So if the ESCR team wants to, I don't know who's going to speak.
Hey, Trevor, it's Jeff. I don't know if you can
Jeff,
hear me.
okay, yeah.
I'll
yeah,
start
sure.
and Desiree will jump in.
Sure.
So as most of you probably know, the work in East River Park has stopped except for the compost yard, turning that into passive lawn. There's a TRO that was placed on the ESCR PA1 East River Park project. So work is not going on except for the compost yard work at the moment. Parallel conveyance package was actually put out publicly for advertisement to the construction industry on Friday. So that is out there. And Desiree is going to give a brief update on PA2. Oh,
Thanks,
yeah. And Desiree is texting me a temporary restraining order. Essentially, the court has indicated that we cannot move forward with the project at this particular time, the PA1 project.
Thanks, Jeff. For project area 2, work is moving along. Astor Levy Playground, which was the first construction area to start, the contractor is installing curbs and sidewalks. Much of the pile work is completed, and in the upcoming months or so, we will be starting, or the contractor will be starting constructing the wall in Astor Levy Park. The pile installation is continuing along the West Service Road, and work is continuing in the East 23rd Street intersection. In Stuyvesant Cove Park, the wall installation is moving along. We have over 650 feet of wall now constructed as we continue south. Recently, we closed off just north of 20th Street to continue the piles there. And now, starting next week, we will close off a small portion of Sty Cove Park just south of 20th Street to facilitate some work for the gate that will go there. And we have been coordinating with Solar One and EDC. We've had site visits to speak to them about the upcoming work. And we also have release and advisory, so you can see that on our website. And as it stands now, we will be presenting project area 2 only at Monday's CB6 meeting. So I think we will have a couple of new construction photos. And if you'd like to come by there, you're more than welcome to, or the presentation will be up on the website Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So that is the update that we have today.
Thank you, Desiree. Jeff, I'm going to go to committee members first. If they have any questions, keep in mind that we're supposed to have a pretty long discussion, which will have to be delayed until PR is lifted or whatever happens to that. And also, Desiree, you can correct me on this, that if in the event something happens, that you're going to come back to the community board as soon as possible, meaning if there's something, some news that breaks within the next few weeks, that we'll see you in December, sorry.
Yes,
November,
correct.
So
Correct.
that commitment is still there. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
I'll go to Val first.
My question is, I read about a new lawsuit about the workers there meeting the standard. And so my question is, does that impact both? Because it sounds like Area 2 is going forward. And I thought that the lawsuit about the employment would impact both, because those are numbers for both. So my question is, does that lawsuit impact both? Yeah, Area 1 and 2.
I believe the lawsuit was just related to Project Area 1, East River Park. That particular lawsuit.
Oh, that the one about the employment. Okay.
Correct.
It was just Project Area 1. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other committee members? Okay, I'll just ask a few questions because I did take a tour of PA2, which was quite impressive. When do you expect that work to be done for PA2? I'm just asking in terms of timing. I know that the park in front of that is going to be replaced, or is in the process of being replaced. And the wall looked like it was pretty far ahead. When will that be complete, and when will that section have flood protection?
Sure. So Trevor, I could speak to that. The construction approach for Project Area 2, including the schedule, is up on the website, so anybody can go take a look at that. Stuyvesant Cove Park is scheduled to wrap up the beginning of 2024. And then Murphy Brothers Playground, which will be the last work to be completed, is scheduled to wrap up in about kind of summer or fall. It's looking more like fall of 2024.
Okay.
And then again, that will offer, some flood protection there. However, again, the project is a complete Project Area 1, Project Area 2, and parallel conveyance to offer the full flood and surge protection.
Right, and obviously there's some concern about building a half of a flood protection, and then neighborhood in front of Stack Cove has flood protection, and then the other area doesn't. So I know that's maybe far down the line in terms of where we are, but time moves pretty quickly. And I hope we don't wind up in a situation where that happens, but beyond our control, but that's my question. All right, so I see one hand, and we'll take that question, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I'm not going to put the timer up. I will look at the clock. It says 6:48. So go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, I just want to correct some of what was said about the lawsuit. First of all, the lawsuit, as people need to know, was brought because the city refused and avoided alienation. And the appellate division, which is the second highest court in the state of New York, heard the case on October 27th. And then on the TRO, that was issued because the appellate division believes there's a likelihood of success in our case. And that would mean that the city would actually have to go to the state and seek alienation and get the oversight of the state on this project. The other correction I want to make is that the lawsuit today was entered on the minority women-owned business issue, and that affects both Project Area 1 and 2. And it also questions the mayor's authority to override the controller. When the controller objected to this contract, many people forget that the mayor ignored that and just signed the contract himself. So this contract, this is also being questioned, the mayor's authority. And just so people know, there's a third lawsuit that was heard last Friday at the appellate division, which was brought by Tully Construction, who was the second highest bidder, who claimed that this bidder was unqualified when the city accepted the contract. So there are 3 active lawsuits right now regarding this case.
Thank you, Tommy. I don't know if you want to respond, Desiree or Jeff. I didn't see it. I didn't hear a question, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's prudent for us to respond. But.
Okay. And none of this will affect the PA2 area. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Michael, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
It is the Hamilton Playground
Yeah,
presentation.
we're gonna swap that out for the DDC presentation, BMCR interim update, since that is also a verbal update. And it won't be, I don't think there's a slide presentation for that, so it should be relatively quick.
Hi everyone, Q Amiri with DDC. Thanks, Trevor. Nice to be here and see you all. Yeah, just a quick verbal update. We don't really have much to share at this point, but wanted to let you folks know what's happening. So for those who are not familiar, BMCR, Brooklyn Bridge, Montgomery, Coastal Resiliency, it's the sort of tail end of the East Side Coastal projects down in Lower Manhattan between Montgomery Street and Brooklyn Bridge. The design was led and managed by EDC, Economic Development Corporation, and recently final design package, construction documents, specifications, all that came to DDC just recently, and we just started our procurement phase. And again, for those who are not familiar, the procurement phase for these large infrastructure projects typically go around 7 to 9 months, 8-9 months, or give or take. So we just started that procurement phase. Our contracts and legal team right now are preparing to get the final bid package ready to issue that for contractors out there to the public. Don't have a solid date on that yet. The target timeframe is before the end of this year, in the next, I guess, less than a couple months, in the next month or so. But once I have a solid date, I'll be sure to, Trevor, reach out to you. And if we need to join the next meeting or afterwards, I'm happy to do that so we can inform everybody of that. And just a quick overview of next steps. Once the contract goes out to bid, there's a time period. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's 60, 90. I'm not sure. I have to get back to you how long that is. But there's a time period for contractors to put their bid in. Review period after that for DDC and legal teams to review the bids and select the lowest bidder. And after that, we go into the registration process, which takes a number of months after that. And at this point, just predicting that process and how things typically unfold, we're anticipating mid-spring for construction start of 2022 next year. So we have quite some time to get up to that point and keep you folks updated. And on that note, again, as a reminder, I'm sure everybody knows this, going through the recent Escr process, but again, construction start isn't an overnight day. There's a process leading up to that point, and we'll introduce the CCL for that project. Once the contractor comes on board, we'll provide all the dates, the sort of approach and the routes from what end they're going to start. Everybody knows that specific area of this project between Montgomery and Brooklyn Bridge is a very, very tight space, and it's very, very restricted with FDR and the streetscape. So we have some work to do with the contractor before they start to figure out what's the best way to approach construction and keep with our schedule and funding deadline, but also reduce the construction impacts to the neighborhood. So all that to come. Again, just for now, update is we received the whole final package from EDC, and we start our procurements, aiming to get the bid out before the end of this year. And I'll let everybody know of the next steps and update. happy to take questions.
Sure. I see Michael, and then I have some questions. So Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, Q, good to see you. And I was wondering, just for clarity for the public and everybody in the meeting, because there are so many projects with, acronyms as names, can you just clarify, is this the same project that got a lot of press today about the idea of leveling
About the idea of what?
leveling the FDR?
No, I think that's the Financial District Seaport project, which hasn't really started yet. That's a pipeline project, I think, with EDC. But that, again, these are pieces of the larger LMCR, Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency. It started with Escr, BMCR. I'll bring a map for next time, and we'll have a presentation. But yeah, Escr, BMCR, Financial District, Seaports, Battery, tunnel area, and then Battery Park City as an authority, they have their own coastal resiliency project. All of these sort of stitch together and tie into the larger LMCR, Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for everybody because I know that there's been some public questions already.
No, good flag, and a lot of acronyms being thrown around. So thanks for that.
All right, and I just have a couple of questions. One of them related to what Michael just mentioned. And the first one, and EDC might be able to answer this, but recently the city announced $110 million for capital funding for a very small area underneath the Brooklyn Bridge going further south. It would overlay with the BBE project, AKA Brooklyn Bridge Esplanade project, which lies in between the BMCR project and the current LMCR project. And they also mentioned that area may now be paused. Now, there's a couple of things there. That money was funded with money from the council member Chin and from the borough president, and we've waited quite some time to get that done. So we're wondering two questions. How does that affect the BBE project, which is overlaid with the BMCR project? And how does that affect the BMCR project, if it does at all? I know there's a lot of acronyms in that concept.
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
I see Fernando's here. Go ahead, Fernando.
Hi, my name is Fernando Ortiz. I'm just getting off the express bus, so sorry if I don't have my camera on and you guys can't see my face. My name is Fernando Ortiz, and so I'm stepping in on everything that is Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency for my former colleague, Will Fisher, until we find a borough replacement for him. So in terms of the 110 million that was recently allocated to this project, there is some overlap and there isn't. So for the BMCR project, that acronym, there is no overlap. And then for the BBE project, there is a bit of an overlap. So for the BBE project, as mentioned before I go to BBE or the Brooklyn Bridge Esplanade, for the BMCR, that project, as we just discussed, has been handed off to DDC and is moving accordingly. For the Brooklyn Bridge Esplanade, the 110 million will have a bit of an influence, and that is in that. Currently, EDC is working on the lighting and the curb, the bike lanes, and the beach access, or the public access to the beach, or what we call the beach. And so that does not include the amenities that were previously, discussed in this for the BBE project. And this is where the 110 million that was recently allocated comes in. So those amenities that are not being, that were not previously being funded will be funded now through the 110 million. So that's kind of where it overlaps.
I guess the schedule on that too, because we were supposed to start the BBE, I believe it should have been started this fall, or it had already started. So I'm just wondering what happens to that project.
Yes, so I'm not 100% sure about the time frame, but my understanding, I believe, is that the BBE will start, I think, very soon, and then the only part of the BBE project that will be a little bit potentially delayed is the portion of that includes the amenities. So for the BBE, the bike lanes, the lighting, and the beach access, that should be happening sooner than the amenities, because the amenities will be covered under the 110 million.
And I don't want to
But
get too far into it.
I can get back to you on exact dates for start dates for the BBE project.
Right, because our understanding is that the amenities were funded already. When we saw a presentation and we approved the design, it had amenities, and we were under the impression that that was funded.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what, the details of what happened and how the amenities got pulled out, but I can inquire as to that and get back to you with that information, as well as the exact timeline of when BBE should be kicking off exactly.
Sure, that would be critical because there's a tie in there, and part of the BMCR project was, and I don't want to speak for EDC but I know part of the BMCR project, we kind of took some stuff away from it because we depended on the BBE to fill in that particular gap. But if we could find out some more information on that, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but by next meeting, it would be helpful.
Yeah, I can get back to you. My understanding is that everything will eventually at some point happen. It's just a matter of like what is being funded through what. But I will get back to you with those precise details for the next meeting for sure.
And this question is for DDC, but it relates to EDC also. And the first part of it is pedestrian safety, and we've written several resolutions on it about pedestrian safety, and it's going to be even more important. I know bike lanes are very important, and we've written several resolutions about being able to cross those streets. As noted, the streets are very narrow and tight and constrained, and it is a challenge to cross those streets, especially in the areas that cross over the bike path. So we want to make sure that during construction and for the project of BBE and BMCR, that we pay attention to pedestrians.
Absolutely,
and
noted.
The last thing is, before I go to, I see one question from, I don't know if Michael, you lowered your hand, but one question from a member of the public. But keep in mind that this particular project on South Street has the potential to overlay with proposed mega towers of 4, one of them is super tall, at the same exact time. So not only do we need to have a multiple CCL meeting or community construction liaison meeting for ESCR, Pier 42, and BMCR, we need to talk about construction and how that might impact this very, well, not small, but very narrow section of South Street. But that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and Trevor, to that point, if I can interrupt, sorry. Just as a reminder, our overall project manager, program manager, construction manager team, HNTB Lira, who's Desiree representing here, we're utilizing the same contract for the East Side project and BMCR. So we have a connected thread there. There'll be different CCLs for each package in each area, but the overall umbrella, obviously, other than DDC, HNTB Lira is overseeing this whole process. So there's continuity there to make sure.
And just, I don't remember
connected.
Who is, do you know who is for Pier 42?
Pier 42 is under EDC, so I'll take that back and check with Fernando and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. I see one question. We'll go to Raymond.
Hello, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, apologies. This is actually the first time I've attended a community board meeting, and I want to make sure I had the proper forum. So I was inquiring about the Hamilton Fish project with the renovation that's going to go in that park.
Raymond,
I don't know.
Raymond, I'm going to cut you off only because I have very good news for you. As soon as we finish your question, we're going to go to that topic.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So thanks for EDC, DDC for the BMCR, ESCR, BBE, and LMCR update. We appreciate that.
Great, and more acronyms to come. Thanks, Trevor. We'll see you next time. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks. And our cue, Mike, do you have the person who, I see Jeff is going to screen share. Next, we're going to have a presentation and for the Hamilton Fish Park Playground. And we're going to start now. Jeff, if you're ready, you want to introduce yourself? I believe you're giving the presentation, correct?
That's right. Thanks, Trevor. Can you see my screen okay here?
Yep, you're all set.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Kiter. I'm the landscape architect for the project to reconstruct the playground here at Hamilton Fish Park, which means I'm the designer and the project manager. So the playgrounds in the northeast corner of the park, Council District 2 gave funds, Councilmember Carlina Rivera, and our goals are to create an accessible path to the playground from the street. It's currently not accessible to wheelchairs. To replace the playground safety surface, it's in bad shape. To preserve and update the existing play equipment, a lot of it's in great shape, and we're gonna keep it and make that money go a little further for new stuff. We're gonna reconstruct the spray shower and create a separate water supply. It currently is tied in with the pool water supply. We want to separate that out. We're going to add swings and more freestanding play equipment pieces. We're going to provide more and varied seating areas, just make the seating areas better than they are now, and increase permeability. That was sort of a sustainability request from the community input meeting. So Hamilton Fish, as you know, is right there in the heart of Lower East Side, Manhattan, south of Houston Street, between Pitt Street and Sheriff Street, which is the little alley behind here. Are you able to see my cursor here? Trevor, are you able to see my cursor when I'm, okay, good. So the site is right out of the flood zone. It's raised up 4 or 5 feet from the surrounding street. So that moves the whole park interior out of the flood zone. There are a lot of other parks and playgrounds within a 5 and 10 minute walk. So it's really about just bringing these other amenities to the heavily used park with the pool is the main draw. There's a little diagram that just gives you an idea of different things that are going on at Hamilton Fish Park currently. We just recently finished a project on the south side of the park to redo the basketball court and the adult fitness area and create an accessible pedestrian entrance there. Our project is up here to the north with the black dashed line around it. And then there's also a concurrent project to renovate the rec center and the landscape immediately surrounding it. This kind of walks you through the components of the project at hand here. So the steps that we're pointing out here to the left, to the west, these are the steps that are an obstacle to a accessible route from the street, from Pitt Street all the way to the playground. Then we have the 2 play equipment areas, the 2 to 5-year-old play equipment, the 5 to 12-year-old play equipment. So again, a lot of the equipment there is from 2007. It's in great shape. It's current. It's stuff that we're still putting into parks, and then we're going to enhance that with some additional pieces that get attached and some freestanding pieces. We're going to redo the seating area that's along the pool that overlooks the pool, and we're going to redo the spray shower. We just have a real wealth of large canopy trees here, and as the Parks Department, it's a real priority for us to protect those and keep those intact and make them better for the future. Here's a couple of photos to orient everyone. So here's the main entrance to the park. You can see the steps there right up front. Those are really what make it so you can't get a stroller or a wheelchair back to the play equipment. You can see the blue pieces in the back. This is the existing spray shower. So it's huge, it's concrete, it's not accessible. It's a little dreary. And so here's the play equipment. Again, a lot of the pieces are current. You have the climbing wall, safety surface is in bad shape. We're going to get that out of there, bring in some new colorful stuff. What this shows is a stairway in the back of the playground that goes up to a terrace that's currently closed to the public. And as part of this project, we're going to fence off that stairway so people aren't able to illicitly enter that terrace area up above. So this is a summary of the feedback, the great input we got at the community input meeting. Spray was a big priority. How do we make that spray shower area new and vibrant? And conserve water, just making it efficient, longer spray shower season, and reclaim it from the skateboarders that are using it now, to green up the park. So a lot more green space, new plants, swings. There are no swings in this playground, so we're going to try to address that. The play equipment. Everybody's really happy about the new play equipment at Luther Gulick Park and McKinley Playground nearby. And so we're really going to just try to find a good cost-effective way to bring the play equipment at Hamfish up to that level. We're going to bring in a bottle filler and a drinking fountain. And then the seating areas. There are a lot of seating areas here, and we're just going to make them a lot better than they are now. So this is a plan that just gives you an overview of what we're doing. Basically, some kind of a ramp and a path will replace those steps you saw in that first photo. And that'll make it so someone coming through with a wheelchair or a stroller or other walking disabilities will be able to get from Pitt Street all the way back to this playground area. We'll redo the spray shower in the middle, make it a little more cozy and intimate. We'll do a 10-foot swing set right there smack in the middle. That'll really be the centerpiece of the new playground as it's updated. And we're creating all this new planting space around, adding the ping pong table, and then a whole row of cafe tables with seating attached that overlooks the pool deck and really just makes the most of that strip between the playground and the pool. Zoom in a little bit, and you can see we're going to have spinners, the ping pong table, play cubes, a few more tables here at the end is sort of a destination at the far end of the playground. The fencing, there's a whole vocabulary of fencing here. We're not really going to disrupt that. We're really going to, sort of low impact fencing plan here, where the yellow lines represent a low 2.5-foot fence to protect the new planted area we're creating here. That will have a play path running through, sort of a nature play path. And then the 3-foot fence is really just a code requirement to protect kids inside and outside of a swing set. The other piece is then the 8-foot chain link fence I mentioned that we'll just close off those stairs and make it so people can't get up there. And so this is just sort of a 3D illustration of the existing play equipment and the pieces we'll add. Here you have this nice tall crow's nest climber and a cladder bridge. And so these, again, are pieces that will sort of plug into the existing overhead climbing bars and the climbing wall. They're already doing a great job, the great slides we already have here. And so the colorful safety surface doesn't show on the bottom here, but these are the colors we're going to use here in this second row of colored circles. This is the play equipment for the 2 to 5-year-olds. The one before was for 5 to 12-year-olds. And so here we have a little balance beam currently. And so we'll bring in these little pods, and that'll just create a little more 3-dimensional interest for that play element. And then these are some of the freestanding play elements. So we'll have spinners. Those will be in both the big kids and the little kids areas. And then these play cube climbers, these are going to be a lot of fun. Those will be more in the 5 to 12-year-old play area. And then the play panels, those are a great accessible ground level play element to introduce for smaller children and then kids in wheelchairs. So it really just becomes a playground for all. It's a place that everyone can get to from the street. And then once they get there, all kids can enjoy the space and the play. Again, this just gives you a sense of that, the nice big size of the 10-foot swings we're proposing here. We have that extra space that we're gaining back from the big gray concrete spray shower that we're taking out. We'll have a smaller spray shower, and then we can have this big swing set. The ping pong table, again, big success at Luther Gulick, and so we're going to try to replicate that success here at Hamilton Fish. Here's some of the spray features. So we'll have different ground sprays, low and high, right down at the colored concrete surface. And then we'll have a few of these overhead sprays, not so big, but sort of medium height, to give a little 3-dimensional interest to the spray shower area as well, the new spray shower. And then this is kind of the palette of site furnishings. We'll bring in a lot of new bee poles. There's really sort of a lighting issue here. It's really not well lit, the playground. So we'll work with DOT to light this adequately. We'll continue the sort of iconic herringbone brick paving pattern there. We're going to take out a lot of the concrete paving that's there now and replace it with the brick that's already there. and it'll just make it look like it's always been there. And then really just the classic drinking fountain, bottle filler, the 39 World's Fair bench, more of the solar powered trash compactors, the big belly, the fencing I already mentioned. And then these are the steel cafe tables. Like I said, we'll have a line of those along the walkway overlooking the pool. And this is the plant palette. You know, this is what we'll be planting in all those new areas that we're opening up around the existing trees to just really give it this green, natural feel, especially around the seating areas. And just in terms of like sustainability factors, we're basically taking these little strips of green and really enhancing them, bringing the green in and around the playground and the seating areas. And that, you know, reduces the stormwater runoff. And it's a way for us to balance the cut and fill this. We're not taking a lot of materials away off to the landfill. And so here you go with the schematic again. And just to differentiate, the yellow circles are existing lights, and then those yellow circles with the plus in them, those are the new lights we'll bring in to really you know, make the playground more attractive and safer at night. That's it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Jeff, for that presentation. I'm gonna, Michael, if you can give me a hand. I don't see any
There's no
committee members.
with their hands up. There's a community board member with her hand up, Lisa Kaplan. I do have one.
Oh, so we'll go to you first, Michael.
I might have missed it, so I apologize because I had to step out of the room for a couple of minutes. Fences, current heights, are they being lowered?
Not exactly, because the fences in question are really perimeter fences, right? So you have this huge 12-foot fence around the whole park. That has to do with the pool security. And so we're not really touching that or addressing that. What we're doing is bringing in these new seating and play elements and fencing those appropriately with the lowest fence we can use.
So the lowest fence is what and around where?
It's I'm going to go to the fencing diagram. This green space here on the left, that'll have our 2.5 foot, 30-inch high steel picket fence. And that's something we use just around planting, just to give the planting a little protection, right? And then the 3-foot fence is really the minimum that we use around the swing sets for safety.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I'll go to Lisa next.
Thanks. I'm having a little trouble hearing. It's breaking up, so I hope you can hear me. But I wondered whether there was any thought to creating a new entrance along Houston Street. I've always felt like this playground was a mystery playground. You can't really see it from the street anywhere. And I wonder if it's really as utilized as it could be if it were a little bit more, obvious. That big wall along Houston Street is just, it's off-putting.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I don't disagree with that assessment. For now, what we're trying to take on though is the elements within the playground. I think that issue of how the park in general meets the street is for another project. So
why? I mean, it's a really significant situation, and you're spending, $3.5 million. Seems like you'd want to make this really inviting place.
right. So I think currently that perimeter fence and that wall really are the heart of how the pool is secured at night when the park is closed. So it's really kind of another whole round of funding and study to figure out how best to address what you're talking about, but still maintain a secure perimeter for the pool at night.
I just want to add, I'm Leslie Peoples. I'm the design director for Manhattan Capital. One of the biggest issues for putting an entrance on that side really is the grade change too. We would need to ramp a whole structure, break down the wall. There would be a lot of excavation, and it would be quite costly to do something like that. So that's not something we were looking at with this project, because we wanted to use the funding to actually be able to upgrade the entire playground.
Okay, thank you. It seems like a missed opportunity to me, but thank you.
Kay next.
Hi, thank you for the design. I think it looks lovely. And I, for one, really appreciate the high fences, just because our playgrounds get misused if they don't have high fences. I was curious about the plantings, bird and bee friendly, etc.
Yeah, good question. So here's the plant palette, if you can see it. So, what we're trying to do is create sort of a year-round interest, visually, of course, for us humans, but also in terms of creating blooms and berries throughout the year, that will then really help with pollinator habitat and bird habitat. So.
Thanks. Thank you. Looks great.
Thank
you. Thank you. And Michael, do you see any other committee members or community board members?
No, sir.
Okay. I know Raymond has had his hand up for quite some time, so I'll go to Raymond.
Hi, thank you. I was just wondering if there's any consideration with the renovation in this park. Maybe it would sound like probably be like a future project, or any other park that may come up due for renovation, to install permanent pickleball courts in these parks. There's a very large interest within the Lower East Side, as well as other groups across Manhattan and the other boroughs, to start playing pickleball. And there's no courts in Manhattan, basically. And so, as one of the fastest growing sports in America, I just wondering if there's anything that we can do to address this within our community.
Yeah. Can you still hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think that's a great question. This is really more of a playground space. So the way the funding is structured is that, we're taking on different areas of the overall park one at a time. So unfortunately, pickleball is not really going to fit in this area. It's really more about, 2-year-old to 12-year-old play elements and seating for their caretakers. So I think that's a great request. And, I think that's something you should try to bring up for other future projects in this park. So.
Could I respond to that question?
Yeah.
Or Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Steve Simon, I'm the Manhattan Chief of Staff at the Parks Department. We are in fact making a concerted effort to identify various parks in Manhattan where we can put in pickleball. And I don't have a list in front of me at the moment, but if you can forward your information to the community board or send it on to the Parks Department, I could get back to you. But we definitely intend to add pickleball to a number of parks in Manhattan, and I believe there's at least one park not too far away from this one where it definitely will be going in.
Which park is that? Do you know?
What I'm thinking of is Passanante Ball Field, which is on Houston Street in the Village.
6th Avenue. Yes. Actually, I and a few others met with the head of the Parks Department, Castro. I can't remember the names exactly.
That's my boss. Yes, he's the borough.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a meeting with him recently to express our desire. It's just the growing demand. There's the demand in Manhattan far outstrips any supply. Myself and a few others, we're like literally like bringing our own nets and chalking courts on playgrounds.
Well, you still may have to bring your own nets, but we're going to do whatever we can to provide spaces for you.
Raymond,
Okay.
if you want to put your contact information in the chat to me, I can then forward it on to Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Great. I'll add it to the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I see Troy has a question. Troy?
Yes, I want to piggyback off what Raymond's just said. We do need pickleball in our area, and this park should be considered. I have a question for Parks Department. Are the basketball courts in this park being renovated?
We
recently were. Yep.
We just renovated them within the last few months.
Okay, so you took out the 4-wall racquetball courts from there, the glass racquetball courts?
Well, it's still there.
Oh, okay. That was my question. And by the way, Simon, if we could get permanent lines at Soul Lane Park for pickleball, that would be great.
All right.
There's lines down now, but that's a park we should look at getting pickleball permanently put there.
All right, we'll look at that.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Just want to remind everyone of the scope of this particular design, because we're going to put up in a second the notes that I've drafted for a resolution for this.
Got one other hand up, Trevor.
Okay, Wendy?
Thank you. I came to the discussion about this summer and pointed out that there's dancers that use this, especially near the entrance, often. And I'm not sure there's space still for dancers here. That's the the group that I see all the time, because I pass it almost daily on my way to work, where it says 2 to 5 accessible play panels. Is that a flat area now? It's on this.
Yeah, so really the whole playground area now is flat, right? In the design, right? So currently it has those concrete steps, as you likely know. Right, and so all of that is really going to be leveled out.
But is there room for people to dance with all the new equipment there and the new seating and lighting? Because that's an important user group. They're there all the time. And they don't need equipment.
Yeah, we remember you making this comment at the input meeting. It was fascinating to hear that. And my impression, sorry, this is John Ernsberger, Deputy Director Design. I thought this was in the terraces closer towards the entrance. That was my understanding when you made this comment earlier, but maybe we misunderstood. Could you clarify?
That's where it was, is in this area, but I can't understand how this is now reshaped. Is it all flat now? In the future, rather?
Look at the screen now. We've zoomed back out again. Why don't you show where the actual entrance is, Jeff, with your cursor? And I believe the dancing circle is right on the inside of the terrace area. Is that correct? That's what we had understood.
They were more in there where these squared off areas, these platforms were.
Yeah, so those will be remaining, those are going to be untouched by this particular project. So you're going to be able to dance. You can dance all over those, yeah.
That's great. And to follow up on Lisa's suggestion, when you on the corner of Houston and Pitt, the building is angled off, and right now it's just painted kind of a beige. That could be a great place to put an arrow to the entrance so it's visible from the Houston side at least, without adding another entrance. So it's just, I'm thinking about a graphic that will help make it more noticeable to people that there's something going on there. I know that wall gets graffitied sometimes, so maybe an attractive sign though might be left alone.
That's a good idea. We'll pursue that.
I concur.
we don't have to wait for this project. Let me see if we can do that sooner rather than later. That's a good idea.
And Steve, is that new entrance that's on Pitt Street, is that second entrance open now?
I don't think so. You mean further down towards Stanton? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've, well,
Not quite yet. Not quite yet.
I don't think we've built it yet.
No, the gate is still being manufactured. It's almost done now.
Okay, because I just noticed today that it doesn't look like a Halloween scene anymore. It's been tidied up a little bit. And I had asked if there was a possibility to open up Stan Street alongside the park for bicyclers and skateboarders. I don't know if that's possible. And maybe that's another phase of this project, but kids need a place to go and there's very few open spaces for them.
Yeah, that would be a separate conversation as to whether or not we could recapture more of that street. I mean, you're probably aware that we did open up a passageway through that alleyway so that you can get from Pitt to the oh God, I forget the other street, but so that you could go all the way through.
Columbia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
Columbia.
yes.
Right, because there's all those high schools right there.
Yeah, well, it's adjacent to the Nest. Is it the Nest school? But I think there may be some more space there. We can look at that.
That'd be great. Thank you, Steve. And thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kay, I want to get this. I know we're talking about a lot of things and it's important, but for the scope of this particular project, which is the playground, that's what our resolution is going to focus on. But go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, this won't be about that, but since we were talking about pickleball, we've been asked by a number of young girls at the schools in our area, but I'm sure it's not just there, that they've asked for volleyball nets, and girls tend to leave parks at around the age of 15. I think it would be good to find out if there are other spots, as long as we were speaking in generalities. But okay, I'm done, Trevor. Now you can do the resolution. Thank you.
No, I actually agree on that older teenage girl, and because at Seward Park it is extremely popular, that volleyball. And I don't think there's a single weekend, maybe even a single day during the summer, that they're not out there playing volleyball. I think that's an excellent point. And at some point, after folks stop Googling pickleball, we can actually have a full presentation of what that sport is exactly. But we'll move to the resolution. And I don't know if Michael is still managed to get on. I know he had.
Yeah, I'm back on.
Sure. If you can share the screen for the resolution, that it's a draft. Michael, if you want to read it, it's a bit long.
Sure.
Or we don't have to read it, but if you want to read it.
I can read it. Whereas the playground in Hamilton Fish Park, located in the Lower East Side along East Houston Street between Pitt and Sheriff Streets, will be reconstructed. And whereas the reconstruction aims to create an accessible path to playground from the street, replace the playground safety surface, preserve and update the existing play equipment, reconstruct the spray shower with separate water supply, add swings and freestanding play equipment, provide more and varied seating areas, increase the park's permeability, and whereas the pathway leading from the East Houston Street house entrance to the playground will also be improved, and whereas a site analysis was conducted and it was determined that the steps leading to the playground are inaccessible, the play equipment in the park is in good condition, but the safety surface is in poor condition, the spray shower is oversized and outdated, the seating area on the south end of the playground is underutilized, and whereas the playground reconstruction will include the following changes. The existing play units will remain with updated pieces added, new safety service will be added, a new smaller spray shower area with colored concrete will be added, spin cups, spinners, play panels, and play cubes will be added, 10-foot swings, including 4 straps, 1 ADA, and 2 buckets will be added. An 8-inch high, a 8-foot-high chain link fence will be added to the northeast part of the playground to close an unsafe terrace. A quick coupler, high-low drinking fountain, and bottle filler will be added. Additional seating areas will be added, including World's Fair benches and steel cafe tables. Ping pong table will be added in the current seating area, and whereas one tree will be removed from the playground area due to poor condition, and whereas the redesign will add permeable surfaces to the park, reduce stormwater runoff with rain gardens, balance, cut, and fill. I don't understand what that means. Use recycled material, improve tree health and growing conditions, and use site-appropriate resilient plant material. And whereas new fencing added to the playground includes an 8-foot chain link fence at the southwest stairway, 2.5 feet and 3 feet steel picket fencing to further enclose play areas. And whereas entrances and exits to the park will not be changed, so therefore be it resolved, Community Board 3 blank.
Now, I can change the wording on that, Phil. I understand what it means, but it probably needs a little better wording.
Should we, the new fencing is also, from what I understand, around some of the garden beds, right? Not just the playgrounds?
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
I mean, we can add it. Everything is in here, so we can add another clause. Oh, no, it's underneath.
With play areas and gardens.
Yeah. All right, committee members, do you see any other things you'd like to add? Keep in mind, these are all mostly whereases. We didn't have too many issues with the design of the playground itself. Seeing no hands, does someone want to make a motion to change that? Therefore, be resolved that we approve the design.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Could I just suggest a couple of minor changes?
Sure.
In view of the discussion we just had about having an entrance from Houston Street, maybe you'd want to clarify that I don't see it now, but it's that the entrance is coming in off of yeah, right there. That it's a pathway leading from the Pitt Street entrance to the playground, and further down where you say the
hold on one second, from the Pitt Street entrance. Okay. Okay.
And then later on, yeah, stop where you say 10-foot swings. Jeff, what's the word we should use here? It's a 10-foot a span of swings. What
10-foot height? 10-foot height.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
what I would do.
Yeah. Well, each. What do you call the?
Bays. The bays.
The whole metal piece, that holds up the swings. What?
Swing frame.
The frame, yeah. So it's the frame is 10 feet long. No.
It's 10 feet high.
Oh, 10 feet high, yeah. Okay. So it's not that. Yeah. Yeah, 10 feet high swing frame. That would include 4 strap swings, 1 ADA swing, and 2 bucket swings. So it would have is this correct, Jeff? It'll have 7 swings.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, yeah. I think this is a better way to describe it.
Okay.
Anything else, Steve?
No, just if there's something at the end that says you support the design, that's all I want.
So we're going to add, therefore, be resolved, the Community Board 3 supports the, make sure we get the wording right.
Redesign?
Proposed design, or it is the design for the renovation of Hamilton Fish Park Playground.
What was the first part? Proposed design?
for the renovation of Hamilton Fish Park Playground. Just add Park Playground, Hamilton Fish Park Playground.
Yeah.
Thank you. Committee members, seeing those changes, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor? Well, I'm going to do a roll call attendance for this. So, Kay Webster,
Yes.
Ryan Gilliam, David Adams,
Yes.
Yaron Alton,
Yes.
Carlin Chan,
Yes.
Valentina Jones,
Yes.
Michael Marino,
Yes.
Robin Chattel,
She's still not on.
Daniel Tano,
President not voting, I work for the Parks Department.
Josephine Velez,
Yes.
Troy Velez, Troy,
He's still.
Yeah, I'm trying.
all right. That motion passes. Thank you, Parks, for that presentation, and we're looking forward to the opening of this new playground. So thank you.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, everyone. Go ahead, Michael.
Wow, I was just going to say motion to adjourn. Aren't we done?
Yeah, we're gonna use that as a vote for attendance. We are done for the evening.
I'm sorry, did Jamil give his report?
Yes, he did.
Oh, very good. All right, so he did mention that we're going to be doing a community input meeting in December for the Rivington Playground at Sarah D.
Yes,
Correct.
you did.
Okay,
And
very
he
good.
mentioned you coordinate with the community board for a possible date, and that you will come to the community board for design on that at some future point.
Of course, yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for attending. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We
Have
are
a good
adjourned.
night.
Thank you,
Good night.
Trevor. Good night.
Don't we have one more roll call?
That was the roll call with the final vote.
Okay.
Don't, Michael, stop it.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that. I'm sorry. All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.